Welcome back to Women's Wealth, The Middle Way, the show that answers your questions about work, money, and family. My name is Susan McGlory Michael, and I am the CEO and founder of Glen Eagle, a wealth management firm in New Jersey. I'm excited to welcome Dr. Helen Law, Director of Chinese Acupuncture Healthcare Center. Dr. Law has been recognized as the 2020 New Jersey Top Doc for her commitment to excellence in acupuncture. She joins us today to share health tips for the fall season. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you.
This is the season when people start to say it's getting colder, their children are coming home from school with colds, and people are concerned about how do I stay healthy through the winter, especially with holidays, seeing relatives, and things like that. So what are some of the challenges we face in it as we enter this kind of fall winter season?
You know that the weather is getting colder and days getting shorter and night get longer.
Yeah,
And
that 5 o'clock gets dark when we leave work. Not good.
Right. During the time when the weather gets cold, we love to eat salad, cold salad and everything, but maybe we want to eat less the cold food and salad, food, more warming foods such as soup, stews, and roast. And with the Thanksgiving holiday coming, so we know this is something that we celebrate and that is seasonal. So the cooking will be a longer time and healthier ingredients that recommend nourish the body. And because autumn is the season, associate wind and dryness.
Oh,
A lot,
interesting.
a lot of people didn't know. It's a very dry season. Okay. So it's important to eat some moisturizing food because we want to moisten and lubricate our lungs.
Oh, and the lungs, they always say as we get older, get harder. And so that's really critical to almost take care of them as we're younger. I've read articles, but you say avoid foods that cause dampness. And I found it really interesting, like noodles, potatoes, breads, and bananas. And then the thing that hit me most was that when you said cakes, cookies, and sugar, because in holiday season, we eat so many cakes and cookies. So I found that like a little bit of an aha moment to read that's probably not necessarily if we want to stay healthy during the colder months to be eating those. That was amazing.
In Chinese medicine, we call it dampness. In other words, and we do know that sugar and cake and cookie are sweet, will create a lot of phlegm. So that's the damp. And then so the bread and carbohydrate food and all belong to that.
And so if we're not going to eat those, they always say, what are certain foods that we should start to eat? Like, what would it be that we should begin to eat? Like, what foods would be really beneficial to us?
We do know that in every season that it's important to eat a seasonal food. And although in our country we're really blessed that we can get fruits and vegetables from all over different other countries, but we want to know that we live in this weather and locally we want to eat as much seasoned local food that produce the food. So such as so the reason that why we want to eat seasonal food in this local is actually can balance our body with the time of the year.
You know, it's interesting because when you go into the supermarket today, they're so vast and so big, and you see strawberries or you see watermelon, and you're right. We're probably eating things out of the season that our bodies, with weather and temperature, shouldn't be really having an intake of. That's
Correct.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the wisdom of eating food.
That's
But of course, we want to eat the food that lubricate our body because we know that fall season is the most dry season in the entire year. Food that help your coconut oil, olive oil, sesame oil, and food like pears, pumpkin with seasonal, squash, apple, seaweed, grapefruit, lemon. And then herbal foods such as burdock, comfrey, ginger, and licorice root. So these are beneficial foods to eat at this season.
And that's really probably very helpful as we go into the holiday season and we have guests and we even make a fruit salad to use those type of fruits in it versus maybe fruits that we attribute to like the warmer season. We all want to stay healthy. So what would you say are some of the things we can do to stay healthy like this season? There's so many things going around, and we really want to be eating so that we're staying healthy. What are some of the things that we can do that might help us stay healthy?
The days are shorter, the nights are longer. So we want to sleep a little bit more, right? When
Right.
we, after the clock change, right? We
Right.
want to stay in bed a little longer, helping you to have a relaxing bedtime and sleep a little longer, more relaxed. And of course, layer up. So we're fall weather with so unpredictable. Like here in Princeton area, that of the last couple of weeks, and we went from 80 degrees for a couple of days, went to 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So the temperature fluctuates throughout the day. So what do? We wear layer up. So we can take it off, we can put it on with a scarf, and protecting our extremities like our head, hands, feet, and stay dry. And physical activity, beautiful fall leaves and thyme. Just go out for a walk, hiking, biking. And so these are all very good activities to do.
It's funny you say that, but I remember when I lived in northern Germany, it was very, very cold. And I had our first child over there, and the German moms would put their babies out in freezing cold weather, but they would be bundled up and they were in their little sack pack kind of strollers. And they were so healthy because even though it was cold, they were dressed appropriately and the children were getting fresh air. And I think often we have that misconception of go inside and huddle in, and that's not good either. But you're right, we need to be out in the fresh air. We need to be still walking. So that's also a good reminder for all of us to do that.
Yeah.
And you also once mentioned raked leaves. And when you think about it, I once read that we as Americans, instead of going out and raking the leaves or sweeping our sidewalks or taking care, we go jump in a car and drive to a gym and get our exercise. And sometimes we can do that right at home. The exercise can be right there. We don't necessarily have to be running to gyms where other people have colds. We always on the podcast want to end with, and you especially because you have such a vast amount of knowledge. I envy the amount of vast topics that you can talk about. But what would you call some of in Chinese medicine the benefits about like the fall and the season that we're going to? What Chinese medicine can so much benefit us? And you have been my greatest educator in that. But I would love for the women that are listening today to hear that. What are some of the benefits that you believe Chinese medicine brings?
It's interesting to hear the other aspect of the culture, the Chinese medicine. We actually at this time to encourage time for reflection, introspection, assimilation, and clearance of all that we have gained in the previous seasons of spring and summer. So autumn is about organization, setting limits, and protecting boundaries. So we actually thinking about we move from external life, expanding energy of the summer to the internal and contracting energy of the cold. The philosophy is very interesting. So the theme this season is called letting go. It's good time to let go of things weighing you down, making space for a new experience that you can learn and grow. Isn't that amazing?
I love that. It's beautiful to think about.
So the best way to stay healthy is actually allow your body to be in harmony with every season. So then you'll be healthy. Fall, again, associated with organs, your body organs like lungs and large intestine. So the lungs control the respiratory and regulate the flow of the water in the body. The large intestine takes care of the releasing waste in the body. So if you're prone to have a lung weaknesses such as asthma, breathing problem, chronic cough, skin condition like eczema, and these conditions getting worse in the autumn time. So it's time to get more help now before it gets worse. So that's my advice.
What beautiful advice. And I love the idea and the visual that you share with fall is letting go, but it's also understanding that our lungs do need to be taken care of and our large intestines, and that's very helpful. And you also have like 6 essential nutrients that we might want to think about, like you share so much, but maybe you can share with us a little bit. You say that there's 6 essential nutrients that we need, and I would love you to share them with our listeners, because it's almost like the gift you're leaving them with today.
These are like the vitamins and minerals. Vitamin D, we know, is critical for immunity, the brain health, bone health, and reduce the risk of cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. So
That's
the vitamin
from
D,
simply making sure we have enough vitamin D.
vitamin
That's
D.
amazing.
And also that we don't spend as much time outside getting the sunlight, the D. So when we're staying more indoor, we want to actually supplementing with D. Okay. And calcium, we know that protects the bone. Zinc, again, for
And the
immune
calcium,
system.
just not to, but that calcium for we as women is critical, isn't it? Yeah.
And zinc, immune system, wound healing, and support the sense of taste and smell. So there you go. And a lot of people during COVID time, they got a COVID lost the taste and the smell, right? Guess what? We put a high dose of zinc to help them restore the taste
Oh,
and smell.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So zinc is actually very important for that. Iron, we know that, especially women lost the blood, iron deficiency. So when you're actually iron deficient, you're prone to get sick often. And vitamin C, we all know that. Important antioxidant for the skin health, wound healing, fighting inflammation, and stop of the infection. Again, vitamin B6 and B12. These are essential for energy. B6 is for the brain function. B12 for nerve cell and red blood cell healthy. So in addition, we need to talk about the fruit. Apples. Okay, we heard about an apple a day keep doctors away.
Yes.
Right? So obviously, at this time, fall time, apple is the most popular fruit. And then so not only providing the fiber, vitamin C, but according to Harvard School of Public Health, the benefits of eating apple may lower risk of heart disease,
Wow.
type 2 diabetes, produce fewer and smaller spike of blood sugar, lessen hunger. So if you're like hungry, instead of grabbing a donut, a cookie, then have an apple, right?
Right.
These are very important. Actually, we're also protecting the cells, the DNA from oxidative damage. So isn't that amazing? Okay,
A simple apple. Wow.
simple apples that I like to
But even
mention.
as mothers, to just slice up an apple, and I remember when the children were little, it was often just that little apple gave them that little boost of sugar also that kind of helped them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Thanksgiving comes. What do we eat? Apple pie.
Apple pie.
Yeah. So those are lots of beneficial food at this time, herbs and spice and everything. Keeps you warm
Yeah.
and keeps you healthy.
Thank you. I can't even thank you enough for doing this today. You are just amazing. Is there anything that we forgot to ask you that we should do besides fall and the beautiful visual of letting go and getting outside and walking and enjoying life? Because you are a perfect example of you live what you preach.
Thank you.
You are amazing. So I would love to thank all our listeners today, because so many women each quarter say, Dr. Law, what's her wealth of knowledge that she's bringing to us. And so thank you so much for being here and doing this for us. And thank each of you for joining us.
And wish all of you have a wonderful, healthy body and mind in the fall season.
Oh, we will. Thank you. And coming from you, we will. You've motivated us today. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Women's Wealth, The Middle Way. Make sure to subscribe to us and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcast app. Join us for new episodes every other Wednesday. See you in 2 weeks.